Have you ever held on to something so special that letting it go felt like losing a piece of yourself? Well, today, I'm saying goodbye to the wildest, most outrageous, most heartbreakingly beautiful supercar I've ever owned. And this isn't just the end of a chapter, this is the end of an era. Let me take you back to where this story really begins. 3 years ago, I walked into the Barrett-Jackson auction and made one of the craziest decisions of my life. I bought a Mercedes SLR McLaren, yes, the fire-breathing, carbon fiber missile built by Mercedes and McLaren during their brief moment of automotive insanity. Back then, it was the most expensive car I had ever bought. $275,000. For a YouTube channel called the dumbest automotive channel on all of YouTube. But today I'm letting it go. And trust me, it's not easy. Why sell the last modern supercar? Honestly, it was the perfect storm. First, someone awesome actually wanted the car. Crazy Nick, yes, that Nick, friend of Doug DeMuro. So at least it's going to a home where it'll be loved, pampered, and probably polished more than I ever polished my life choices. Second, supercars? They make horrible YouTube content. I know, shocking. But if I buy a $10,000 Hooptie death trap, boom, million views. Buy a $500,000 supercar? YouTube says cute. Anyway. And then, there were the taxes. My accountant basically tapped me on the shoulder like, hey buddy, remember that whole government thing? They want their money. All of it. So yeah, smart decisions had to happen. Eventually. But the real heartbreak. This car wasn't just a car. It was the last survivor. The final modern supercar in my fleet. And now it's leaving. A look back at the madness when I bought the SLR, it had just under 3,000 miles. Now it has just under 5,000. Yes, I actually drove it. Mostly because I had to. Someone had to bring it back from Houston. And the car came with a spicy past. At one point, it had a small fire. Which sounds terrifying. But in reality, it was a fuse panel that decided it wanted to become a toaster. It smoked the trunk, singed some wires, ruined a few tail lights, nothing major. In SLR terms. An owner bought it for $400,000. Freaked out when it smoked, and dumped it on an insurance claim. Haggerty fixed it. Wayne Carini bought it. Then Dennis Collins from Gas Monkey bought it. And finally, me. The last in a long chain of questionable decision-makers. But the crazy part? Despite its reputation for astronomical maintenance, this car barely needed anything. People hear SLR and instantly scream, $50, 000 brakes, $15,000 annual service, spark plugs that require pulling out the engine. Yeah, well, none of that happened. Oil changes. That's it. 3 years and nothing broke. But now, this is the last ride. Driving into memory lane as I slid into the SLR for that final drive. Something hit me. Not regret. Not fear. Something deeper. Grief. Because every time I drove this car, it reminded me of someone special, my grandmother. She gave me my first car, a 500 SL. She believed in my dreams long before YouTube ever did. And when she fell ill, I wasn't around as much as I should have been. Life got busy. Kids. Work. Responsibility. And then she passed, melanoma that could have been caught earlier. And the guilt. Oh man. The guilt hit like a truck. For years, I wondered if I could have done more. Been more present. Given her more of what she gave me. It wasn't until therapy that I finally learned to breathe again. To understand that the love she gave wasn't meant to be carried as guilt. It was meant to be remembered with joy. And that's really the heart of it. Letting go isn't always about losing. Sometimes it's about honoring what mattered. The Lotus disaster now, let's completely shift emotional gears, because while I'm having existential crises, the Lotus Elise is having one too. When I got to the car wizard's shop, the Lotus looked like a biology experiment gone wrong. The clutch? Absolutely destroyed. The transmission fluid? Black as midnight with a sprinkle of glitter, courtesy of metal flakes, because apparently this car lived a hard life. And the air filter? Let's just say NASA might classify it as an unknown life form. But the good news? It's a Toyota engine, which means it'll survive anything short of a nuclear blast. Daniel and the wizard worked their magic, new clutch, new flywheel, fixing shocks. finding a clutch that was literally from a Toyota Corolla XRS. Yes, Corolla. On a Lotus. That's Hooptie excellence. A tour of the chaos after the Lotus comes the Audi R8 that's getting torn apart. April's 500 SL with hydraulic fluid spraying everywhere. The Panamera belonging to William Shatner, yes, Captain Kirk himself. And of course, my clown shoe BMW which needed a chlorine bomb treatment to stop smelling like hurricane soup. It's a circus. A beautiful, chaotic circus. But it's my circus. The final goodbye when the SLR finally got loaded and shipped off. It hit me. This wasn't just a goodbye to a car. It was goodbye to a version of myself. A version that thought flexing was essential. That thought owning the most expensive thing meant success. But I'm done with that. I don't need to prove anything anymore. Not to the internet. Not to myself. And honestly, Hoopties make me happier anyway. Now I'm in Arizona selling 4 more cars, no reserve. Because apparently I like stress. And naturally, I saw a bunch of cars I wanted to buy again. Because I'm me. So here we are. The SLR is gone. The Hoopties are multiplying. The chaos continues. But that's what makes this journey worth it. And if you've stuck around this long, if you've shared the laughs, the disasters, the questionable purchases, then you're part of this story too. Before you go, do me one small favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what ridiculous thing happens next. Because trust me, the next chapter is going to be even crazier.